So last but not least, before we go to the student lounge, we're going to stop by Séverine's office. And Séverine is the entire Colombian Paris program director. Hi, Séverine.
Oui, bonjour.
Bonjour, ça va? Can we ask you a few quick questions?
Oui, pas de problème.
So we just stopped by Andrew and Sam's office,
Yes.
And they each gave us a little bit of an overview on the English and French tracks.
Yeah.
But could you give us a broader overview of what Columbia in Paris is in general and kind of what programs are offered here?
With great pleasure, Lily. I think, what do I say at orientation? I say you open the blue doors and it's like entering a house. It's a community,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that what Columbia in Paris is, it's really an opportunity for any student who's interested in France, the Francophone world, Europe, its relations to the world, global issues, to come and study abroad, either for a semester, an academic year, or a summer session. And really, Charlotte, hello, behind the camera.
Yes, Charlotte is behind the camera.
There's an opportunity for everyone, regardless of if you have any French background or not. During the summer, we offer opportunities for non-French speakers to take global core classes, Black France, abolitions and slavery, courses in the sciences, in theater, translation, you name it, we have it. And for those who are interested in having a little bit of a longer experience and have no French background, the fall is a terrific opportunity. And then all year long, you can do French in Paris.
Yeah,
Wow.
because it's not just Columbia in Paris fall. It's like, I've heard a lot about the summer program here as well, where you can take your core classes here, like in the spring as well, it's just year round, as you said.
The summer, Lily, is booming. The summer is booming. We have hundreds of students here in the summer.
Yeah, wow.
It's absolutely wonderful. But the fall is terrific too.
Fall is really
Especially,
nice.
I feel, for a student who's it may be their first time going abroad, leaving home, their state, even asking for a passport. Sometimes that can be, a first step, and that can be a little bit intimidating. But the fall is precisely, I would call it the cozy program, right? Because it's a little bit shorter in length.
Yeah.
It's a little bit smaller in size. So it's about intimacy, it's about community, and forming strong ties. And hopefully make you want to stay here forever and ever.
Oh, yes. I've said this before. I wish I could stay another semester, but I need to graduate on time. And then one last question.
Yeah.
So what do you hope, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but what do you hope in general that students can take away from their experience here?
It's a very, very good and
If you
very
had to
wise
say a
question.
couple things.
What does it say here, Lily?
Amour.
Amour. Love. Lily, without love, nothing great will ever be accomplished in the world. So what I would like for students to take out of this program is love. Why? Because love is empathy. Love is, opening yourself to being vulnerable, and that's uncomfortable. It's about being weak and okay with it, but ultimately it's about strength. And so I want students to have a love of study, a love of learning, a love of books, a love of truth, a love of knowledge, a love of self, and empathy towards oneself and also towards others.
Yeah.
And encountering a different culture is so important. I believe every student should go abroad. Of course, France would be great, come here.
Yeah.
But just anywhere in the world. Because, confronting yourself to a different culture is a learning experience about who you are, about your identity, but it's also uncomfortable to encounter otherness, and we love to talk the talk of how we're good at adaptation, but we're good at adaptation in theory, but not in practice.
It's
and
tricky.
So we have to practice, encountering difference and loving it. Learning to love it. It's the hardest thing, Lily.
Aww.
It's the hardest thing.
Thank you, Séverine. That was so inspiring. If it makes you feel better, I definitely have been reflecting on some of the things you've touched on, like before we talked about this.
Oh, good.
So,
what has been good for you this semester?
oh my gosh, I feel like here, so I've kind of learned French since kindergarten. Not very deeply,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been exposed to it, so I've always wanted to come to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just something about taking classes at Reid Hall and Sciences Po that has just broadened my vision so much. Like my city diplomacy class, I now understand how much goes into like a city's culture and like how much goes into governing a city, like Paris itself. Throughout history, I feel like I just see French art so differently, you know, and I see how it really reflects like people at that time and like how much society changes through that. And then at Sciences Po, I've met so many international students, and it's just, I don't know. It's been great. It's been about love.
And it's been about love, yes. And you know, Lily, I really like that you mentioned city diplomacy, and I think it's so important. Sometimes we focus on the big players, the countries, the big organizations, and we forget about our local communities and the power that cities have to change things and to collaborate and work with each other, right? And there are different size cities, and I think that's what you learn in your course.
Yeah,
There's no small player. Everybody's contributing.
Definitely not.
And in art history, don't you go to the museum every week?
Yes. So we've gone to the Louvre, Musée d'Orsay, et Musée Gustave Moreau.
J'adore. The Musée Gustave Moreau is a little bit like my office.
Yes.
There's
a little bit of a smaller
everywhere.
one.
There's stuff everywhere.
It feels like a secret, but I feel like now it's not so much of a secret.
Wow.
Okay. Is that all set for now?
I think
set?
so. Did you meet Leopold? I have lots of little comfort animals in my office.
Leopold.
Because I believe that we don't exist alone in the world. We exist with animals.
Aww.
And so I can't have a real frog or a dog. Or
Oh, you do have a lot of
rabbit.
animals in here.
This is a pink rabbit that a former student gave me.
Which one?
Yes, my little
Oh
pink
my
rabbit
gosh.
that's lovingly looking at the dog. Yeah, voilà.
Oh.
You need, voilà, and I have a camel.
Wow.
I have an elephant who's really cool. He's wearing
Just like
funky
Rosa
glasses.
Bonheur, who loves her
And I have works
animals.
of arts by former students. Look
Wow.
at this.
Oh, this is so sweet.
Voilà. So the students are in the office all the time, even when they leave. I think I have to say goodbye. Goodbye. So long. Farewell.
Bye, Séverine. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Thank you for
I'll see
stopping
you
by.
later.
Thank you.